I watched the interview. I was upset with the clip.
Oh, yes.
You and I'd say something about it afterwards.
You reacted, yes. I saw
which is okay. If you want to engage, we can engage, but it's not important now. I just wanted to ask what's going on with the Human Rights Commission, because there were people that opened cases against you for, I'm guessing it was hate speech and the
Neil
like.
de Beer of the United Independent Movement.
Yeah.
Opened the case.
There were many others apparently.
And all the best to him with his current ongoing cancer treatment.
Yes.
You know, my father just recovered from cancer. And
we spoke about this when we were last together.
He took precautionary chemo. So he didn't need chemo because he already had some nano operation where they cut out whatever lumps were in his colon. But he's fully recovered from colon cancer. He took a precautionary 6-month course of chemotherapy, and that was also really hard on him. So I empathize with what Mr. Neil de Beer
is going through.
And I also commend him for still showing up, even though, you know, right now his health is not 100%.
Yeah.
And knowing his history, having met him and spoken to him within the struggle and even in the democratic dispensation, you know, I've got lots of respect and admiration for him.
Yeah.
I was also very disappointed that he's the one that actually sent through that complaint, you know, and rallied up other people to send through that complaint. He says a lot of things, you know, he uses a lot of words that some might call unsavory. The word Neanderthal is not a swear word. It's not an unsavory word, you know what I mean? Neither is Homo sapien. When he does his Sunday show with Chris Stein on BizNews TV every Sunday, you know, he says a lot of things, calls people mamparas, what, you know what I mean? He's got very colorful language. He doesn't use swear words, but, you know, he says al-mur, you know, mursetlapo, all these things, you know what I mean? Which are, you know...
It's a very crass way of speaking.
Yeah, but it's also, it's like, it's rude words in Afrikaans.
Yeah.
They might not be swear words, but they're rude words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's the type of person that does that. He's watching me do the same thing he does, except it's on a Monday, not on a Sunday. And instead of listening to the content of the conversation and taking it in context, he basically took that small part. And to those people that felt like what I was doing was saying that white people are less than human, I feel that you're being unfair to me because there's the full context of the episode in which I gave that in. And the full context of that episode is to say we are having racial divisions exacerbated by external forces now. So the divisions that we already had amongst us, you know what I mean, where we feel some way about white people feel some way about us, Indian people feel some way about, you know, everybody feels some way, and we're able to express it, but we know where to draw the line. You know what I mean? Now it's coming out and no lines are being drawn. We're not seeing what is okay, what is not okay. My call, especially to the core audience of the Hustlers Corner, which is in the main Africans, right? My call was for us not to seek vengeance from the provocations we are seeing from white South Africans, because their dismissal of our suffering during apartheid is a provocation. You know, they're telling us to just move on, get on with it, is a provocation. Them telling us to pull ourselves up by our bootstrings is a provocation. You know, we discussed all of that. We discussed the fact that, you know, the National Party government had a bioweapons program where they infected people with HIV.
Is that Voter Passon? No, that's someone else.
But
Those
either way,
guys.
yeah, but
Sure.
They were all part of that weapons program. Voter Passon was at the head of that program. And at the same time, people were celebrating the cutting of PEPFAR aid. So the same people who benefited from apartheid, the apartheid government, that infected people with HIV, making us have the highest or second highest infection rate in the world. It's between us and Swaziland, you know. Who takes the number one spot, you know, in terms of most infected people as a proportion of their population. They're celebrating that. Now, let's just say we're in Israel and someone decides the Holocaust was a hoax, and then there's a celebration of that by a certain sector of the population that are in the minority. The majority of the population would be looking at them and be like, hey, that's a provocation. So there are all these provocations that I'm speaking about that are happening to Black people. And no one is saying anything about it. I even mentioned the fact that Mike Teke, Siriti, billions, moving coal out the country, trading with the rest of the world, whatever the case may be, can't put down R1 million in a media budget. Penwell, counter this narrative. MacG, counter this narrative. Lasizwe, counter
You believe
this
in that
narrative.
stuff, paying people to push agendas?
The provocation is being done by people who are paid to push the agenda.
So you reckon there should be a counter to that?
It should never go unanswered.
Okay.
So I was doing the counter to that using my lack of money, but my, abundance and influence to now say, here's the counter to that. Same time knowing that I've got limited resources. I've only got my own voice, my own personal voice.